Hi, welcome to the first practice for the Beginners Yoga series, where we deconstruct each pose and then you know how to safely move through your own body, and you can decide if a pose is a pose for your body or not. So this first pose is coming into Sukhasana. That's the Sanskrit name. It's translated as easy seated pose. It's not easy. Okay. In the pose with no props, no assistance, no nothing, you come like this, and you're just seated and the legs are crossed, and you feel both sitting bones grounded and rooted down into the floor, and the spine is tall and lifted. Just keep going. So what usually happens in this pose, if the body is not prepared for it, are two things. So the first thing is you come down to sit on the floor, and this is assuming that the body can come down to sit on the floor. But you come to sit on the floor and the back rounds, particularly in the lower back. So you're kind of seated like this. Okay. The other thing that happens, especially if the spine is rounded, is that the knees are popped up like this. Also, simply bringing one leg in or the other leg in is just not going to happen for your body. So here's the way to modify this pose. I like to use and suggest a wall to my students. If you don't have wall space, but you have a couch behind you, you may be able to just simply use the couch. You're looking to support this area of, you see that? This area of your body, your lower back. So the first thing that I suggest to my students is to grab as many bolsters and blankets as is needed, okay? So because I had owned a studio for a while, I purchased a bunch of bolsters and blankets. Before that, I was attending classes or using the ones that were provided by the studio. So if you don't have a bolster and blankets that look like this, that is fine. You're just looking for something firm, okay? If it's too squishy, you're gonna sink, and then you lose that sense of support. That's really necessary for allowing yourself to ground. And by that, I mean get a really good sense of the foundation and connecting points between your body and the earth, and how your weight settles into one side or the other. Okay, so yoga practice really helps to develop body awareness. Okay, so I'm going to show you using a wall behind me because I don't have a couch behind me if you need that. Okay, but what you're looking for when you sit down, and you may not need the support behind you, is to sit in a way where your knees are dropping below the hips, okay? So that may mean one big bolster or pillow underneath you. There is no shame if you need a whole pile and you're sitting there, okay? And then you're rolling forward, tilting the pelvis, okay? So the pelvis, this is if I'm tilting my pelvis forward, it's a sense of sticking your butt out behind you, okay? Or if you're tucking it under. Okay, so when you're sitting down, there's a little tilt forward of the pelvis. So the way to create that, and this is not easy to do if you're using a wall behind you, but is to sit and then just slightly, you're sitting on the very edge of the blanket so that it pitches you forward slightly. Another way to do that is to literally reach behind you, grab one butt cheek, go to the other side, grab the other butt cheek, so that it helps to tilt you forward. Okay, and then letting the legs cross if the knees let you do that. Okay, and right now in this highly supported position, my knees are definitely lower than my hips, which allows my spine to be nice and tall. There's no rounding in my lower back. My neck can be nice and long, so that when I'm starting my practice, because most practices start in the easy seated position, the intention is to allow the eyes to close so that you can focus on your breathing and connecting the breath with the sensation and movement in the body, and then to set an intention for your practice. Okay, and an intention is something that you can state simply to yourself that is loving to yourself or to others or both. And you want the body to be in a place of comfort so that it's not taking your attention away from that focus of breath and mind. Okay, so this is the beginning pose called easy seated pose, Sukhasana.